Hello everyone and welcome. You're watching this week's episode of EBC Sports International. I'm your host EJ Gonzalez, coming to you from Alexandria, Virginia. Whether you're watching live or catching our videos on Facebook or YouTube page, we thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're all staying safe and healthy during these interesting times. And like always, I'm joined by some of my favorite people to discuss sports with, to give their hot takes on various sports news that happened this week. First, from the West Coast, we have Michael Hudson.
What's up, guys? Just letting you know, I did lose a bet against Ken when the Seattle Seahawks lost to the Rams in Week 10, so I'm wearing some Rams colors tonight, so I'm just living up to my bet. So.
Yeah, you got to zoom in.
Bet has been paid.
Yeah, you got to zoom in on that yellow there. But awesome. Way to keep your word, bro. Our good neighbor from the north, we have Zarita Sese. What's up, Zarita?
Hey guys, basketball's back, so I have a life again.
Oh, we all have a life again. From Las Vegas, we got Alderman Santos. What's up, bro?
What's going on, EJ? It's always a pleasure to be here. What's up, y'all?
Definitely. And we have a special guest, not only special to our very own Zarita Sese, but for our viewers tonight, we have Mr. Sese, Albert Sese. Welcome to the show, bro. Welcome to the show.
How's it going, guys? Glad to be here. Ready to talk some sports.
Definitely. It's great to be here with all you guys. And before we get started, I just want to remind our viewers that we are by no means experts, but rather a good group of friends giving our opinions on topics surrounding our love of sports. Before we jump into any discussions, though, let's get you caught up on some news around the sports world. There have been big contract extensions for big loads of money during the NBA offseason. One of those who inked a huge deal is Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Our correspondent from Boston, Julianne Evangelista, gives us the details.
Jason Tatum's rise to superstardom has impressed Boston's front office, granting him a 5-year, $195 million rookie max contract extension. The third overall pick in the 2017 NBA draft, who ironically grew up a Lakers fan, called his Celtics contract extension a dream come true.
Something like that you feel when you in with, it was a dream come true. I'm so grateful. And thank you, for that. I don't think that's a brand to take it lightly. It was a big deal. Jason and Jalen, both have signed new contracts within the calendar year, and, both have already made a huge impact with their play on the biggest stage and all that they've done in their first couple of years in the league. And now the challenge is to continue to grow, continue to get better.
Tatum and the Celtics will play their first 2 games at home against the Bucks and the Nets. In Boston, Massachusetts, Julianne Lou Evangelista, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Julianne. Now for some insight on how the lovable Boban Marjanovic of the Dallas Mavericks has a great relationship with the young star Luka Doncic. Here's Melissa Potez on the report.
The NBA's most lovable player, Dallas Mavericks center Boban Marjanovic, is unlike the villainous character he played opposite Keanu Reeves in John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Known for his vibrant personality on and off the court, Marjanovic looks forward to more slapstick comedy with his sidekick, Mavs star point guard Luka Doncic.
Are we like dumb and dumber? No, no. But you guys guess who is who. Hey, it's a joke on the side. I think just our personality, it's it's fun on the other side. We have, like how I say on beginning before that, we have so much fun together. It's just this small detail on a video, if you guys every time it does, it'd be wow, you will laugh 24/7. But it's cool when we have that media we can show how people really enjoy in the job what we're doing, and we every time looking forward to wake up every morning. I have practice today. I'm so excited. I try to teach that my kids in good way. I hope so. And this is this because we have so much fun, because I think we kids in the heart, and we love to do what we do, and we have fun playing together.
The Mavs start their season on the road in Phoenix against the Suns on Wednesday. In Orlando, Florida, Melissa Potes, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Melissa. Now, lastly, earlier this week, the PGA held a PNC Championship tournament where all eyes of the golf media were focused on Tiger Woods and his 11-year-old son, Charlie. Audiences clamored on the young golfer's amazing swing, and he had the game to back it up. One hole in particular was the par 5 hole, a hole 3 in the tournament. Tiger pushed a drive off the fairway, so they opted to use Charlie Woods' drive in the best ball format. The young man stepped up and hit a perfect drawing hook to put the ball just 4 feet away from the hole. Then Charlie comes up, cleans up the putt to earn his first eagle ever. What a way to do it, man, on a national televised tournament on a par 5 PGA course, man. Charlie definitely has the mannerisms of his father with not only a solid golf swing, but fist pumps, early putt walk-ins, and the trash talking to match as he teased Justin Thomas when he hit a shot into the bunker. The future definitely looks bright for the kid, and everyone in the golf world is excited to see his future if he does decide to pursue a career of professional golfing like his father. All right, guys, you're caught up in some new sports world news. Don't go anywhere because now that the NBA is back, we got a lot to discuss with our panel. You're watching EBC Sports International.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced, not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Agila Pilipinas. A 1-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Agila Probinsya. Tune into Mata ng Agila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Agila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science, and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to explain our help outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Gusto namin maging happy ang mga viewers sa amin pagpapatawa, sa amin pag-entertain, iba-ibang segments and games.
Batanes! Batanes!
The jackpot prize of 58,000 pesos. Ang tamang sagot na hinahanap natin.
3, 2, 1!
Happy peeps, on the Happy Time stage, please welcome
Magandang dilag sa isip mo, aman mo.
Thank you po.
Ay, maraming salamat po.
Taos-puso po kami nagpapasalamat sa malaking tulong na inabot niyo po sa amin.
Please watch Happy Time every day, Monday to Friday, dito lang sa Net25.
Happy time, happy time, happy.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, let's jump right into it. NBA is back, and it's great to have basketball back on TV. And we have had a lot of action just the past couple of days. The NBA season opened with games headlined by the Nets Warriors and Lakers Clippers. KD and the Nets dominated his former team of the Warriors, while the Lakers fell to the Clippers after receiving their championship rings. Let's talk about these headline games first. Let's start with you, Mike. Do you believe KD's back? Where will the Nets finish in the East? Let me hear you.
Oh, man. Back is an understatement. I mean, Kevin Durantula Durant is back, ladies and gentlemen. I think he missed, 560 days since he fatefully tore his Achilles. But, I mean, this guy looks like he has not missed a beat. I mean, he was absolutely unstoppable. Granted, it was against the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors are a little decimated right now. But he did play well tonight as well. They did play against the Boston Celtics, who are a much better defensive team. But I think just the way he plays is just, you can just see the passion and the love he has for the game of basketball. And he's just so dynamic on the offensive end. I mean, he's just like, he can shoot anywhere on the court. I mean, he's 7 feet, plays like he's like 6'6". I mean, he is just so dynamic. And also, I was very surprised at how fluid he was on a defensive end. I think he had like 3 blocks the first game, and he's just has been playing a really good defense for the team. And that's saying a lot because it's Steve Nash, right? Steve Nash head coach team. He wasn't known for his defense, but I think them as a whole is playing good D because they're led by Durant. He's leading by example. Yeah. But yeah, that first game and also especially tonight's game really showed me that they're the top of the East. They're going to be the big dog, and they're going to be the team to beat definitely on the East.
Yeah, so you got them at seed 1, huh? Coming into the playoffs.
Absolutely, number 1.
Right. Zaria, how do you feel? Do you think KD's back? Is it a good pairing with Kyrie Irving? How do you think they looked in the first game and even today during their game today?
I hate it as a Raptors fan because the East is gone. Like the East, we dominated for a couple years, and now it's just gone from us. I feel like KD is getting revenge for the Raptor fans who may or may not have cheered him on when he got hurt. And like Mike was saying, he picked up right where he left off, dominating that. I think it was game 5 in the finals. Looks like, nothing happened. And I think for KD, he's one of those guys that benefited with everything that's been going on with the NBA seasons, the delay in the restart, a shortened season or off season and stuff like that, because now he fully rested. He had more than enough time to rest. And we're seeing it now in his style of play. And unfortunately, I have to say they're coming out of the East, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, man, they look scary. Honestly, like when I was watching,
scary good.
Right, it looks like chemistry is just automatic. It just became automatic. Like they didn't need a game. They didn't need many preseason games, right? But so let's head it over to one of our Laker fans over here in our group, Aljamain. Sorry
Albert,
about.
I know you're a Laker fan.
No, you, bro. I'm in. Was it a big deal that the Lakers lost after, receiving their championship rings to the Clippers, who I think actually got worse? But,
absolutely
let me hear.
not.
Sorry.
I remember seeing a photo of Kobe sitting in the airplane with his trophy next to him. That's how we feel. It's all good, man. We got a chip, we got the ring, like we got no stress right now. Watching that game was pretty painful though. It was. I'll be honest with you about that. They did not look in like their true form, especially with the talent that they have on the team that they just picked up in the offseason. Schroeder and Harold definitely added some depth to the bench. But, the Clippers, they showed up. They made their shots. They moved the ball as fluidly as they could with their recent pickups as well with Serge on their team. They definitely have a big man that's going to challenge Anthony Davis this season. But, I mean, as far as does it matter? Absolutely not. Does this regular season ever matter for the Clippers? No.
Of course.
That's just that you should know the answer for that one.
Right. I feel you. So I was saying, but I feel like the Lakers just got so much better in the offseason that it was just disappointing to see them lose the very first game. I don't know. I mean, then again,
I don't think the Lakers got better. I thought that losing Dwight Howard and JaVale, that was huge as far as being enforcers in the paint. And just giving him that physical toughness down low. I think Danny Green. I know he's not a point shooter, but I mean, the guy can defend. I mean, he's a defender. Yeah, they got Wesley Matthews, but I feel like Danny Green's a little bit better than him. And then Rondo.
Right.
I mean, playoff Rondo.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I just feel like they just made so many headlines in the offseason, and everyone was talking them up. I think they should have won their first game, but then again, they lost all game ones in the playoffs, so I don't think it phases them any bit. But Albert, I want to get to you, man. Who do you think has a better duo off of these two teams with Nets, Durant, Irving, or would you rather go Leonard, George?
To be honest, I'm going to go with Durant and Irving, only because we know the star power, and with Leonard and George, one half of that we know just in the playoffs, the George reputation. A healthy Kevin Durant is probably one of the best scorers that we've ever seen. Pair that with someone like Kyrie Irving, who's able to handle the ball and control games left and right. I'm going to definitely have to go with Durant and Irving.
Awesome, right. I mean, I don't think any of us would disagree with that. But do you think that the Clippers are the biggest threat to the Lakers coming out of the West with a Paul George and Leonard duo?
The way Paul George looked in the first game, he was shooting the lights out, right? Of course, he had that meme-worthy pass over to the referee in the
right,
corner.
I was going to say that.
But other than that, like, he was shooting the ball efficiently, shooting the ball with confidence. Maybe this year is the year that we finally see Paul George, carry whatever he has in the regular season finally into the postseason. But time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully that money gives him, that extra boost that he needs. But let's go ahead and talk about the other games in the NBA. There were some surprising upsets in the season openers for other ball clubs. Nuggets, they fell to the Kings in overtime with that last-second tip. Tatum hit a game winner on Giannis. So the Celtics, upset the Bucks. Orlando beat the Heat in the battle of the Florida teams. And then Luka falls short to the new-look Suns. Philly also spoiled Westbrook's triple-double DC debut. I want to ask you guys quickly, we could start with you, Albert. Who made the biggest upset and made a statement for what's to come this season?
For me, just because I despise the fact that Giannis did sign that contract. Them losing that first game was kind of big. The fact that, Giannis did miss a free throw, which for whatever reason still can't hit. Hopefully it's not a thing of things to come, because, we do want the best of the best when it comes to the playoffs, but them losing that first game was a little bit of a biggest statement for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, how about you, Amin? Which team do you think made a bigger statement with an upset in the opening games?
I'm gonna have to go and agree with Albert. Jason Tatum, if we remember last season, really played really well. Hence, he was able to acquire a rookie max contract. I think him setting the tone for the Boston Celtics is going to be required because of their exit from the playoffs last season. Now, being able to overcome Giannis and be able to hit that game winner, that's. I feel like they're sending a message to the East that they are still a top contender within that conference. Regardless of KD and Kyrie, regardless of the Miami Heat. I really think Boston will probably lose to the Lakers in the finals. So there'll be another upset for Jason Tatum. But I mean, you play with a chip on your shoulder, you're bound to create some upsets, especially against Giannis. That was a really huge upset. I'm sad about Westbrook though, man. That's I thought he was gonna take him to that win too, man.
Oh yeah, well it was a close game all the way up to the end, man. But hey, Westbrook did end up with a triple-double in his debut, and he looked off. He looked very rusty, and still finished with a 20-point triple-double. I think it's good news for the Wizards to come. But how about you, Zarita? What team do you think made a statement, or which team do you think is overrated or underrated after the first game performances?
For me, a team that made a statement is the Golden State Warriors, but it's not a very good statement. I think it just shows maybe they're one of the teams that we overestimated, and we bought into the hype that the success that they've had over the years. But the past two games, they're against juggernauts, I do understand. But at the same time, we expected so much out of them, even with not Kyrie, even with Clay out, Draymond's out right now. But it's just, the fall from grace of the Golden State Warriors is it's hard for me to accept because they were so good for so long. So that's one team that made a bad statement. But another team, I'm sure we'll get to it later, is the Houston OKC game. That's a statement of probably things to come down the road for other teams if things get out of hand. But those are the two that stood out for me for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like what you had to say there. I mean, Michael, do you agree? What team do you think made a better statement in the opening games? Underrated, overrated? Let me know what you think.
Well, I'm going to stick. I'm going to pick two teams. I'll stick with my original is the Nets. I think they've made a huge statement. I think a lot of people didn't expect them to gel so well this first game. The reason being is because come on, KD missed how many days? 500 something games, no rust at all. He literally looked like he played like he didn't miss any time. The guy is just total beast. I just realized how deep they are. You have Karis LeVert, who did amazing in the bubble, coming up as a 6-man. Steve Nash said many times that he's going to be more of like the Manu Ginobili, like that's going to be his role, just having that explosion off the bench. And truthfully, guys, I don't really see any weaknesses with this team. They have interior defense. You have Jarrett Allen, you have DeAndre Jordan, who can alter shots. You have the 3-point shooting, Kyrie, KD, obviously. You have Joe Harris, who won the 3-point contest, who can shoot from outside. Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie. They're great defenders. Everybody's so long. So I think they made a huge statement with the opening win, especially the win today against the Celtics. And then my other team I would say is the Phoenix Suns. I felt like they made a pretty good statement beating the Mavericks first game as well.
Definitely.
CP3 and D Book, they make a really good duo right off the bat. I really think the Phoenix is my dark horse this year. They'll probably be like the 7th or 8th seed because the West is so stacked. But it'll be the first time they make the playoffs in quite some time. So,
yeah, definitely some great takes there. Exciting to see how the season will unfold, though. But we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, there are some huge problems in Houston. Harden continues to make headlines for misconduct, and then a COVID outbreak causes Houston to deplete their roster, thus postponing the season opener against the Oklahoma City Thunder, like Zarita had mentioned earlier. So let's start with you, Zarita. How do you feel about Harden's behavior? What do you think? The message, is it great the way he's making his message sounded?
No, absolutely not. It's very selfish of him. I think I'm all about player empowerment. If you want out, that's a conversation between you and management, but you don't have to risk the lives of your team, your staff. I think it's just, I get it, you're sending a message, but it's the worst way to do it. Maybe, sit out and ask not to play, but to put your entire team at risk. And now, I don't know how it works for like salary wise when they can't play because of COVID, but livelihoods, health and safety in general. It's a bad look on Harden. Crazy, I think a lot of people are getting sick of it. So get him out of there. But at the same time, what are teams going to receive? Right. What kind of Harden are they going to get?
Exactly. He's kind of reminding me of like the Antonio Brown of the NBA now, who's just making like unnecessary headlines. But Albert, I want to know what you think. Do you think Harden is ruining his reputation and interest in being pursued by other teams now?
It's always tough because when you have that sort of superstar talent and that generational talent, especially with Harden, you have to sort of take what you get. He does come with a package and whatnot with his attitude, but you have to agree and come to terms with, yes, he's still that generational scorer and he will still perform well, hopefully, on the court. In terms of his reputation, it is taking a bit of a hit here with regards to what his activities off the court. So I think the interest is still there, but his reputation is definitely taking a hit. Yeah,
I definitely agree. But a lot of the pictures that were surfacing of him, like in the preseason, you guys see how much weight it looked like he put on. It's just, I don't know, it's just funny when I saw those images. I thought
it was photoshopped. I honestly thought it was photoshopped when I saw it.
Or it's just like a bad angle maybe, but I don't know. I mean, but I'm so with the weight that Harden has put on, the way he's acting and everything, how soon do you think Houston needs to find a deal?
Man, you know, whatever James Harden is doing right now is, I think, just that's who James Harden is. You know, just hearing about his antics here in Las Vegas was, I guess, not really a shocker, but a shocker because of what's going on right now in the rest of the world. You know, he's coming out here to, you know, go party. He's going out with his friends. He moves like a mob. You know, he has like a ton of people always with him. So it's not much of a surprise that he brought that virus over there to Houston. But as far as his antics and things like that, like I don't know if you want him to be on your team, you know. And you have to have a special type of like coach, a special type of staff to really want to work with James Harden. I don't think that you know, he's really holding himself up the best way that he can, especially if he wants to be on a contending team. I think the best way for him to really move forward with it is you know, get the job done, show up, and I mean, if you need to do the bare minimum, to do the bare minimum. But you know, I think the way he's going about it is completely unprofessional of him to do that.
Right. Well, we're not so sure if he was the one who brought the virus in, the outbreak, if he was the cause of the outbreak. But Mike, there was an outbreak. So how do you think the NBA needs to deal with this situation, you know, going forward?
Well, I think they're on the right course right now. Is, you know, they fined him a pretty hefty fine. You know, $50,000. I mean, it's a lot to us. It may not be a lot to
Lint.
But I think that's something that will probably turn eyes. I mean, for me personally, I think he's just acting out. I mean, it's obvious that he wants to leave, and he's doing anything possible. You know, on top of this, you know, he's fighting with teammates. He's just arguing with people.
Right.
And I think the most logical choice would just to be, I mean, Boston is probably the most logical choice because they have so much draft capital to get him. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I think for me personally, I wouldn't want Harden because just his attitude in general. But you can't deny, like what Albert said, he's a generational talent. So, I mean, you could definitely win with him. It's just a matter of getting the right organization.
Yeah. Great points, everyone. Great points. But it's crazy times over there in Houston. But we have to take a quick break. We'll talk some other big NBA news when we return. Stick with us. You're watching EBC Sports International.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Ang nahirapan naman kaming apat dito dahil syempre pinakita nyo sa amin ang mga performances ninyo na napakagaling.
The overall performance nyo para sa akin was excellent.
Ang galing ng kinanta nyo medley. Talagang blending.
You know, the three of you, lahat kayo, ang gagaling nyo in your own way. So congratulations, it was good performances.
to EBC Sports. I'm your host, EJ Gonzalez, live from Alexandria, Virginia. Thanks for sticking with us. Continuing with NBA news, people are making early predictions that Luka Doncic will win this year's MVP for the regular season. Luka made noise in the playoffs, carrying the Mavs without Kristaps Porzingis, who is currently still unavailable due to injury. Luka was ranked by ESPN as the 4th best player in the league at just 21 years of age, entering his 3rd year as a pro, while Vegas experts give him the highest odds in winning MVP this year. He had 32 points, 8 boards, and 5 assists in a close game against the Suns in their season opener, but ultimately lost that game, and I think they lost again tonight, right, guys? So players ranked below Luka include Kawhi, KD, Lillard, Curry, Harden. Let's start with Albert. Do you agree with Luka's spot on the rankings?
Honestly, I think it's quite high. I think given the fact that, like you said, he's so young and, you know, his ceiling and his talent, we don't even know where it is. But after seeing players like KD come back and then 2 games that we've seen him, and he's in true top form, I think that ESPN and Vegas do have to adjust their odds just because of, you know, seeing how healthy KD is and how he is performing already.
Agreed. And then you also think about Anthony Davis, who I think is going to get the baton passed to him from LeBron entering this season. I don't know. I agree with you. I think he's just ranked too high in both of these lists, putting too much pressure on a 21-year-old entering his 3rd season. But Zarita, how about you? Is it too early to think that Doncic will win MVP this season?
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, I know it's only 2 games, but 2 games into it, it's hard to make that argument. But it's also, I'm very weary whenever I do see these stats of like averages, like 32 points, 8 boards, but look at who he's surrounded with. Is it more so about the people that he has to make up for? Like, is he just picking up slack? So that I think is a little too early. And yeah, it's too much pressure for a kid who's just trying to get his team going, maybe in a season or 2. But when it's KD that sticks out to me. How could they rank him below that? Mind you, that was before these 2 games, but you can't watch KD and say, no, Luka's better.
Agreed. But exactly a great point. I mean, is it more on the slack he has to pick up? Because you look at KD, he has a Kyrie Irving and a deep bench with the Nets. And then Anthony Davis and LeBron are on the same team. It's kind of like they're battling against each other. So Giannis, I think their team gets worse. I think he has to pick up a lot of slack. So I don't see how you rank him above Giannis. How Doncic is already ranked above Giannis. But Mike, how about you? Is it too early to think Doncic will win MVP? And if you think so, who's going to be the dark horse for this year's MVP?
Well, you know, with Doncic, I think one of the main reasons why he's ranked so high is one, the bubble. He played absolutely outstanding. So, you know, you have momentum from that. And then also, you know, going back to like the share or the load that he has to carry. I mean, he does so much. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the reason why Giannis won, is because he did so much with like such little help. And I think that's probably one of the criteria that went into it, is that he has, like, besides Kristaps, doesn't have any consistent players around him. He does so much other than score. But yeah, I still think he's ranked too high. And yeah, I would have to agree with Zarita that, I mean, based off these 2 games, Durant. I mean, like, just by the eye test, man. I mean, he's just like he can just do everything on the court. I mean, he's by far the one leading right now. But I would say a dark horse. I would say that I mean, you would probably have to toss in Paul George. I mean, just based off the first 2 games.
Oof, right. Well, that's hey.
He played so well.
Hey, like you got, I take my true. Hot take, but like you guys mentioned earlier, he is one of the better performers in the regular season. So I think that's a pretty safe dark horse to choose, especially Kawhi didn't make much news after those first 2 games. Honestly, all eyes were on Paul George, right? But how about you, Amin? Do you think Doncic can win MVP this season, or is it too early?
You know, I think they made the rankings prior to the season starting. So based on how exactly how Mike said it, based on the bubble, I don't think. I think it's pretty accurate, man. To be honest, he MVP. You bring value to the team, right? You make your other teammates better, and I felt like Doncic really did that. You know, he performed that. He filled that role of what an MVP does. He makes your mediocre role players look like superstars when you play with him. You know, and then having to do that without Kristaps is an amazing feat. If you want to throw in Giannis into the mix, he's got crazy athleticism. If you look at Luka, he's slow, man. He's like really slow, but he's like super accurate with his passes. You know, he finds his teammates everywhere. So I mean, to rank him that high before the season had started, maybe, you know, and his ranking may kind of go down as the season continues. But the kid is 21 years old and he's going up against grown men with experience. Right. And, you know, to recognize, he made Rookie of the Year, you know, so it would only make sense for him to step into that role as he grows his game to become an MVP. Now, it didn't look well in these first couple games, but, you know, we can't really measure that just yet. KD looks really good too, but he may be one of the stars, and Kyrie, but they may never get past like a first round maybe. So who knows? For him to perform against the Suns and, you know, drop the game, you know, I guess he has a scapegoat to say like, oh, he's only 21. So people give him that little cushion. It's like, oh, you know, they lost that game, you know, but he is just 21. And then you got the other side where it's like, but he's just 21. You know, he's so good, you know, so he does have that buffer, that cushion when it comes to, you know, gauging his talent. But I mean, he could be like a really generational star, you know, in the upcoming years. So.
Yeah, and I think that
now I agree with him being at the 4, but you know, over the course of the season, we'll see if he continues to uphold that position.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too. It's part of marketing, right? Because, you know, Doncic. I mean, let's be real. He's going to be like the next like big star of the NBA, right? So he has to stay relevant somehow because, you know, LeBron only has 2 or 3 years left. Yeah, granted, you still have Curry and KD and things like that, but I mean, you have to appeal to a different audience, right? Like more of like a global audience. So having someone at the forefront to like lead that charge, I think that's part of it as well. So
right. It's probably the media, honestly, just putting breadcrumbs there for the NBA eyes to really pick up, right? You know. But
one guy that I do want to see, I just wanted to add, is AD. I think it'd be a great storyline if he was able to continue that success over into regular season, especially because now he has this like championship swagger too that I think will do a lot for him this season. So I think it'd be great to see AD win.
Right, great point. Because I remember he coming off a fresh championship. All the load is off his shoulders now. Like he's got one. Now all he has to do is step up and perform to, you know, the huge contract that he was able to sign as well. And he's not an old dude. They were showing earlier on TV like what gifts they got in the holidays, and LeBron goes, "We got this football team that you just shake and the football players would just attack each other." That was his story, and then Davis goes, "I got a PS2." Like, that's just so different generational things. He's actually really one of the younger guys in the NBA, and I don't think a lot of people notice that Davis is really just entering his prime. But, all right, so we talked MVP candidates. Now, let me hear you guys give some love to the rookies. A handful of young talent are entering the league this season. LaMelo Ball has been a media favorite during the preseason, but he disappointed in his first regular season game against the Cavs, going scoreless. And then Anthony Edwards looks impressive. Obi Toppin, he's going to benefit with a lot of minute opportunities with the Knicks. Denny Avdia out of Israel also looks like a poised professional at just 19 years old with the Wizards. And let's not forget Bol. He's actually eligible to win Rookie of the Year this year as well. And he said he's going to be going for it. So I want to hear you guys' predictions on who will take this year's Rookie of the Year. Mike, let's start with you.
I think for me, you know, after seeing their first two, I think Wiseman is really showing.
Yeah, dude.
he just has a really mature game. And then it would be interesting if he wins, because last year Pascal won the Rookie of the Year. So it'd be like back-to-back years that Warriors players would win. So I think Wiseman is in the lead for me right now.
Okay, nice pick. Nice pick. Zarita, how about you? Do you agree, or do you have another pick?
I mean, Anthony Edwards too as well. He's, depending on how his team does, I think he could be a favorite. But one guy that I think might win just because of all the attention he's been getting is LaMelo. And he's just not impressive to me, so I really hope he doesn't win. But I think he might, just because that, like you said, media tends to plant the seed, and it might just happen that way.
Right. I absolutely. I think LaMelo is one of the more like flashier players. I think that's why he's grabbing that attention. But Amin, how about you? Who's your pick for Rookie of the Year this entering the season?
I watched a little bit of that Warriors and Bucks game this evening, and Wiseman, he looks, he has a little bit of fine tuning that he needs to do, but the kid is a monster. And it's been a while. I think. No, I'll take that back, because Giannis. I mean, do you consider Giannis a big man? I don't.
No, I don't. I'm not a center. Not a center.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
He just plays
like
in the paint.
Forward, as a really good scoring forward who has a lot of athleticism. But if Wiseman were to win it, when was the last time you saw a big man win Rookie of the Year?
Right. I mean, did Karl Anthony Towns? Was it Karl Anthony Towns who might have won the last one?
Is he? I wouldn't consider him a true big man either.
Well, he's like a 7-footer, plays with paint. He's a true center, I think.
Yeah.
He just knows how to stretch the floor. But agree, I think the last time we've seen like a real big man,
traditional,
right? A traditional big man.
And I see
like
some of that, that talent in Wiseman, and I hope he does get it.
Yeah, nice. I mean, it's definitely a solid pick. How about you, Albert? You're gonna side with your wife here?
I'm gonna hop on everyone's bandwagon and say Wiseman too. I do agree the fact that the media is sort of pushing that LaMelo Ball agenda. I mean, you hop on Instagram and they're showing his passes, his over the behind the back, over the head to his teammates. But even with these two games with James Wiseman, I think the fact that he's on the Warriors as well too, that we don't really expect them to do too well. He's going to get that opportunity. He's probably going to get more playing minutes, and he's going to have that opportunity to show why he is one of the top candidates for Rookie of the Year.
Exactly. It all depends on how many minutes these guys get, right? Because it's not based on how many wins your team gets. That's not put into Rookie of the Year. I mean, it's all statistical, especially whoever scores the most points. I think Wiseman has that opportunity to go ahead and take a lot of that offensive weight on his shoulder, especially with Clay out. And they're looking for another star because, like we mentioned earlier, Wiggins just isn't the Wiggins that we know.
Wigging out, man.
Right. I mean, but that's the other thing. I feel like Obi Toppin of the New York Knicks. I mean, who's on the Knicks? He's going to get all the minutes. He's going to be able to get all that playing time. And honestly, Denny Avdia, I think, is, as a Wizards fan, guys, I don't know if you guys know that one. Denny Avdia, bro. Like, man, he's just looked impressive to me. He's not a Luka Doncic, obviously, but I mean, when we think about international players who had, experience overseas, playing professional big men, and now making their debut in the NBA. He's only 19 years old. That's the year that, that's the age that
is he coming off the bench?
Is he is coming off the bench. However, right now, Rui Hachimura has an eye infection, and he's out for like 3 weeks. So he actually got the start against Philly in their season opener. They're going to play again. But I'm definitely excited to see how Denny Avdia performs, because even his jump shot, he wasn't known for his jump shot. He's actually more of like a tall point guard. But his shot looks good to me. So I think he's definitely a dark horse candidate when it comes to Rookie of the Year. But interesting picks, everyone. We just have to wait and see what happens with these rookies. But again, from a draft class that I didn't think was going to make any noise, it looks like there's some good promise that's actually coming out, and even with just these first two games. When we get back, though, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get some quick takes for the NFL season that's nearing its final weeks before the playoffs, and we have our infamous question of the week. We'll be right back. You're watching EBC Sports International.
Mga mahalagang pangyayari na naganap di lamang sa bansa, kundi maging sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, ating balikan sa Pilipinas 2020. Tinutukan ng Eagle News Team sa iba't ibang sulok ng bansa, pati na sa ibayong dagat. Pilipinas 2020. Hatid sa inyo ng Net25, Radyo Agila, EagleNews.ph at ng Eagle News Live. Pilipinas 2020. Abangan!
Yo, what's up, Happy Tips? Kapiling nyo ba rin ang batang masunurin ng baby boy ng Happy Time? Bili na ng itlog. Pumigan na mo! Kuya,
Congratulations, Mask Sunurin hosts Aiki, for winning first runner-up in the 2020 Philpop Songwriting Festival.
First runner-up from Metro Manila Cluster, Destiny by Aiki, Interpreter, Kevin Yadaw, and Junior Crown.
Your entry, Destiny, has indeed found its destiny in the music scene. Continue to inspire us with your brand of music. Your Happy Time family is truly proud of you.
Patapos na po ang taon, pero hindi pa rin kami tapos sa pagbibigay ng maaaksyong dance move dito sa TNG.
At ngayong linggo, mas matinding dance showdown ang inyong matutunghayan because we will bring you the 4th monthly finals.
Yes, dito lang yan sa mas pinatinding biggest talent competition on Philippine TV and online. Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 Dance Edition!
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. Again, I'm EJ Gonzalez, and we're going to go rapid fire here with some NFL hot takes. First off, let's discuss NFC East. Washington, New York, Philly, and Dallas are all technically still in the running to win the division. Mike, you're over here yawning, but let's go ahead and do some rapid fire. Who's your pick? Who's your pick coming out of the NFC East and why? Mike.
Oh, me? Oh. I will say I'm gonna stick with the Redskins or Washington football team. I'm still used to it. I'm gonna say Washington football team because once Alex Smith comes back, I think they'll be legitimate. And dark horse player Logan Thomas. Thank you so much. I have him on my fantasy team. I'm in the championship game this weekend. Let's go.
Well, good luck to you. But unfortunately, Alex Smith, it will be out facing the Carolina Panthers this coming Sunday. How about you, Albert? Who you got coming out of the NFC East and why?
First, I'd like to correct you. It's called the NFC Least. I have to agree with Mike. I do think that Washington is going to come out of that division, even though my Seahawks did beat them last week. Their defense is really good, and I think that's what's going to carry them into at least win a couple of these games.
Agreed. And hey, it was actually pretty close. It could have gone our way, Seattle and Washington. I just want to put that out there. But anyway, Ahmed, how about you? Who you got coming out of the NFC East?
Well, I mean, I haven't been paying attention too much to the NFC East, but I mean, who really does pay attention to the NFC East? But, man, I'm going to have to stick with Washington football team.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm happy for all your picks because that is, of course, my team. But I just want to put it out there. Every time Tom Brady did lose in the Super Bowl, it was to an NFC East team. So don't count them out. All right, now let's talk one of the front runners, or earlier in this season, was Pittsburgh, but unfortunately they lost 3 straight. Mike, do you think that they're still contenders for the Super Bowl at this point, or will they see an early playoff exit?
No, never contenders. I didn't even think they were contenders coming into the season. I just think that the quarterback position is very crucial, and Ben Roethlisberger he's toast. He is final. I do not see them as a contender.
Fair enough. How about you, Albert? Do you agree? How do you feel about Pittsburgh right now and their chances?
I have to agree with Mike again here. Their first half, I mean, most of their games in the season were against non-contenders, and we see their true colors sort of come out. You know, when they face the Bills, they lose. Washington, your team, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they'll make the playoffs, but I don't see them as true contenders of the Super Bowl.
Right. I'm picturing an early exit too. But how about you, Ahmed? Are you on the same boat as all of us? Do you think Steelers are still formidable?
I mean, if they are able to fix their issues from the last couple games, you can't count out experience. You know, Ben Roethlisberger has proven time and time again why he is one of the great quarterbacks of this era. You know, and he does step up in those playoff moments. So you never know. You might just be surprised, you know, with how he plays in the playoffs if they make these changes. So,
right,
you know, if they keep continuing to play the way they play and not switch up anything, then yeah, you can see him taking a seat.
Yeah, definitely fair points. I think like when they lost to us, Washington, but then lose 3 straight, I feel like the pressure of that perfect season is off their shoulders. Right. But I don't know. I mean, everybody says that at 11-0. They were the worst undefeated team that they have ever seen at 11-0, which is crazy. But all right, our last hot take for NFL. Let me hear your picks on who ultimately takes these wild card spots. The Raiders, Ahmed, are still technically in the hunt. But who do you think? Do you think they're gonna make it, or is it a done deal for them?
I just remember the last couple seasons, like all these criterias need to be made for them to get the playoffs. And it's just like, bro, could the odds be more against us? You know, like, come on, man, throw us a bone here. So I really hope they do make it to the playoffs, you know, but I mean, a slim chance. But I would really like to see them, you know, really make a name for themselves and represent Vegas well.
Agreed. How about Seahawk fan number 1, Michael? Who do you think is going to take those final wild card spots?
Are we talking about for NFC and AFC?
Either one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, NFC, I think it's pretty locked already right now. I believe it's Cardinals, Rams, and the Buccaneers. So it's just a matter of just finalizing those positions the last 2 weeks. But yeah, I think those wild cards were still the same for the AFC. I believe, I would love to see the Raiders in there. I think that they're pretty exciting to watch, especially their tight end Waller and running back Jacobs. So I think I'm going to agree with Audreyman. I think the Raiders will make some noise.
Wow, hot takes. But Albert, how about you? Seahawks fan number 2. Who do you think will eventually take these wildcard spots with these final 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think like what Mike said, the NFC West is already, or NFC I should say, is already sort of locked in, and it's going to be nice to see sort of 3 NFC West teams in the playoffs. In terms of the AFC, I do sort of want to see the Ravens sort of make a push, only because we know the talent of Lamar Jackson, and seeing him in the playoffs is going to be a treat to see for everybody.
Definitely, he has a chip on his shoulder, especially after how he performed last season. Yeah, I was gonna pick the Baltimore Ravens to go ahead and take that last spot from Miami. I definitely think they're a lot more fun to watch as well.
Oh yeah, don't forget the New York Jets guys.
What? Dark horse of what? Getting first pick.
They did beat the Rams though, so there's that.
Yeah. Well, great stuff, y'all. Well, now we can end with our question of the week. We're going to start with Zarita. And the question of the week this week: if you could change one rule in any sport, what would it be?
For me, I'd get rid of the cylinder. I think that's the most useless thing, and it's so subjective, and it's just move on. And I think it takes more athletic talent to actually be able to dig that ball out of the cylinder.
Exactly.
But I find it so useless.
Right, offensive goaltending, that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's not in international rules, so NBA needs to just go ahead and take that out. Mike, how about you?
Man, this was a very tough question. For me, I would probably say, oh gosh, I'm so tired. Okay. The one is I would get rid of the two conferences in the NBA for the playoffs. I would just do straight 1 through 16. Boom.
Good. That's a good one.
No more 1 through 8. And then also for the NFL, get rid of overtime in the regular season. Or get rid of ties in the regular season. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Right. Agreed. How about you, Albert? What rule do you want to go or be added to a sport?
Mike took the tie one right out of my bat there. Seeing a tie in the NFL, it's just like it just blows the wind out of the sails. It's like, why is this even like a thing in football? So maybe they can figure out a way to continue to play or at least find a legitimate winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed. Ahmed, how about you?
I'm not sure if it was a new rule or for James Harden just figure out a way to travel. But, just the pickup dribble, bro, that's a straight travel. You took 3 steps. What are you talking about the pickup?
Right. The Harden step back.
That would be my rule. Yeah.
Right, agree. If it were me, I would take away fighting from hockey. Psych, we all love fighting in hockey. I wouldn't change that. Add fighting in all the sports. But anyway, that's all the time we have for this week's edition of EBC Sports International. On behalf of everyone on our panel, thank you so much for joining us. And be sure to tune in again next week. Make sure to visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. And like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at EagleNewsPH to join the conversation. From Alexandria, Virginia, I'm EJ Gonzalez. This is EBC Sports International, and we live in interesting times.
Nagpaluto ka nga raw ng merienda, hindi ko tatanggihan yan dahil alam mong paborito ko yan, hindi ba? Specialty namin dyan ni Josie. Aba, marunong na rin si Reyna magluto niyan. Good! Para pagkasal na sila ni Ned, pwede ko nang i-request na lutuin araw-araw.
Yun ay kung papayag siya magpakasal sa akin.
Bakit? May agam-agam pa ba ang anak mo para sa anak ko? Josie, ayun yung batang sinasabi ko sa'yo. Tawagin mo pa kainin natin ang lomi.
Pinapatawag ka ni Ma'am Luella, magmerienda ka muna daw sa bahay.
Tuloy ka, Iha.
Hello po. Pinatawag niyo po ako?
Oo. Ay, naku, Mayora. Etong batang to sinasabi ko sa'yo, binigyan niya ako ng face mask at nilecturean pa ako. Oh.
Face mask po.
Ang ganda nito, ah. You made this?
Yes po.
Is it reusable? Are you selling them?
Yes po. I have lomi for you.
O sige, pwede. Teka. Tapusin ko lang to, ha?
Galing kay Ma'am Luella.
Wala na ako ng gana eh.
Nakarating kaya sa kanya yung lomi? Natikman niya kaya yun? Ano pinagsasabi mo, Manang? Wala yung lomi. Oo nga, anong meron sa lomi? Yung ex ko. Kapatid ni Blaze. Manang, paano mo nalaman?
Sa hotel ito, ah. Maaaring magkamali. Reyna, ano nangyayari? May tinatago ka ba sa akin? May ibang tao ba sa hotel? Nasaan ang mga tao dito?
Wala tao dito, oh.
Alam ko may tao dito! Lumabas kayo!
Nakakatakot.
Lumabas kayo! Asan yung mga tao dito? Alam ko may tao dito! Ikaw?
Ang daigdig ko'y ikaw. Tuwing Sabado, 8:08 ng gabi, dito lamang sa Net 25.